Did we like it? And how did everyone look? Are we stealing stuff from it? Is it problematic? It's brunch movie reviews.
Vice is a movie about the vice president of the United States. But which one?
Satan. If you ask,
Christian
Bale.
Christian Bale, the Christian. This is a movie about Christian Bale looking a lot different than Christian Bale usually looks, and everyone wants to give him every award for that. And I say, if that's what the bar is for the Oscars, then Aaron Eckhart should have won a bunch of Oscars for making himself look gross in Bleed for this. But
yeah, but we are coming off a year in which Gary Oldman took home the award for costume design.
Right.
So
yes. That sucked. Don't remind me.
Yep.
That is the most nonsense.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll get to it eventually. We're doing the review right now, but
Let's get to it now. Fuck Gary Oldman. No.
no, I feel much better about it if Christian Bale took home the award than I did last year when Gary Oldman did it.
Oh yeah, I mean Gary Oldman should not have won last year. Arguably this year Christian Bale should. We discussed this is a down year for Best Actor. It alternates every year. Either Best Actor or Best Actress is stacked. This year, Best Actor, not stacked. Shouts out to the ladies.
Okay. Vice, did we like it? Out of 4.
I liked it a good amount. I gave it a 3.2 out of 4.
Wow, that's higher than I expected.
Yeah.
I gave it a 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
Solid 3.
I thought it was funny. It had been long enough since I had seen The Big Short that I was not annoyed or tired of the quirks.
The style.
Because it is, I mean, Adam McKay, that dude's got one speed. And apologies if he's been doing a bunch of other stuff that's nothing like The Big Short and Vice, but these two told in the exact same way, identical style, a lot of like quirky cutaways, a lot of laughing at things that you shouldn't be laughing at, which will help this get a high score in the problematic department because very clever there. I really loved one of the better scenes of the entire year is when when Cheney's heart was better for a second, and then they had credits as if the movie were over, and everybody lived happily ever after, and then the movie continues to be all of these horrible things that he did.
Yeah, I liked it, and it was a creative way of telling a political biopic, and God knows those can be boring.
Yes.
Obviously, the Dick Cheney story is not a boring story, but I really liked the way that McKay delivered it in like a creative fashion. Mm-hmm. It was not the darkest hour.
No.
In the way that it was told. So for me, who's not a political person and not politically, I'm not, I don't really care too much about politics.
You weren't dying to see this because you want to see something about Dick Cheney.
Right. And so I'll give it to him. It was awesome in the way that it was told. Bale was amazing. I've said it before. Said it in our Oscars preview. I think that he's the runaway winner for Best Actor. But I thought that it was really conspiracy heavy. And
it is.
No, it was
it is maybe the most biased movie you will see.
It is super, super politically leaning.
I like that though because it was so obvious.
It was
they
open about it. I'll give it credit for that. I think the way that he did it is much better than trying to hide it and trying to present it as
right.
Well, I'm just giving you the truth, like
right.
Here's
so,
the
I
truth.
mean, with movies like either American Sniper or I'm sure there are a lot of others. I can't think of good examples where it will tell a political thing from the perspective of like, we're America and everything that we do is good because it's in the name of America, and you watch that and you're like, is that really telling the story in a fair way? Versus this, where it's going way the other way, but being so much more overt about it than those types of things.
Yeah, so like that, I felt good about the fact that they were upfront. Like they even say in the movie,
we're not sure if
we don't
this
have
happened.
all the facts,
yeah.
but here's what we think may have happened.
Yeah.
So overall, it was enjoyable. It was different and like not perfect, but a very entertaining movie about.
Yeah,
Dick Cheney.
I've talked. A lot of people think that this movie sucked, and I didn't think it sucked. I liked it more within the next couple of days. It kind of has a bit of an aftertaste because as you're watching it, at least I wasn't totally comfortable laughing at a lot of the jokes and a lot of the things that it makes funny. But then when you look back at it, you're like, you know what? Those things actually were funny, and that they were able to present such a kind of horrifying tale in
like the Patriot Act stuff, sort of where
where it's
the
served,
dinner scene and it's on the menu and it's like, oh, we'll have tonight. It's like tonight's specials are torture, tapping phone calls, things like that, and like obviously super serious subject there, but it was so clever in the way that it was presented.
How did everybody look? I gave it a 1.9 out of 2 because Christian Bale obviously looked a lot like Dick Cheney. I thought that he kind of overdid the Cheney voice and the vocalized pauses. I thought that was a little overdone, but a lot of the other people looked like the people they were playing too. Condoleezza Rice. I thought that Sam Rockwell's Bush was basically as good as you could make Sam Rockwell, or as much as you could make Sam Rockwell look like Bush. I don't necessarily know what Rumsfeld looks like, but we were saying at the time that we saw it, it's hard to have Steve Carell play anybody, especially in an insulting way, and not just see it as like, Steve Carell's mocking that guy.
Right. And I actually had to look up what Donald Rumsfeld looks like, and he did look like Steve Carell.
Oh, nice.
Or Steve Carell looked like him in the movie, but it's so hard to look at Steve Carell and not be like, that's Steve Carell playing somebody and making fun of them.
So that's the only reason it doesn't get a full 2.
2. I'm just gonna give it a 2 out of 2 anyway, because I thought Bale was so good as Cheney, and he just completely got lost in that character. Rockwell was good as Bush. I always appreciate Amy Adams. I didn't think that she was unbelievable in this movie, but like, it's always nice to have her around. She looks great.
Yeah, big fan of Amy Adams. Are we stealing anything from it? I gave it a 1 because I'm going to try to hold more meetings while I eat barbecue.
That's a good thing to steal from it. George Bush fucking loves barbecue in that movie.
Yeah.
And I have a 0.2 out of 2 just because, like, the only thing that I can really take away from that is some general knowledge about the administration that I didn't have.
Okay.
Because I was sort of young for the Bush administration. Couldn't really grasp everything that was going on there. But a good move to steal would be to have an office in every building that you go to, because that's what Cheney had, and I did not know that either.
That's kind of like, I wish that I could have an apartment in every city.
I wish I could have like a bed and anywhere that I go, just so I could take a quick nap no matter where I am.
Yes. Well, it's funny you said. This episode is brought to you by the Bed Pack. It's a backpack that turns into a bed. Wherever you are, you're in bed. The Bed Pack. Is it problematic? I gave it a 1.8 because I wanted this movie to be problematic. I wanted it to because this movie was really pushing it. So I wanted to be making faces and be like, "Ugh, how are you joking about that?" And in hindsight, I wanted that. As I was watching it, I was uncomfortable. But I give McKay a lot of credit for being able to make even the most self-conscious person laugh at some not funny things.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you framed it in a pretty good way. I'm giving it a 1 out of 2 just because, like, again, it's super politically leaning, and it made me feel a little uncomfortable knowing like what the reaction was going to be to it, and just like,
tell you what, man, people who liked Bush and Cheney aren't going to see that movie.
You don't think so?
No,
you really don't think so,
dude. People, old people found out about this movie when Christian Bale thanked Satan for the inspiration to play the character. You think that inspired them to go to see the movie?
I feel like a lot of like politically driven people would go to see that movie to complain about it and be able to say,
oh, true,
and be able to like complain about the left and what they're trying to do to America and all that. So it was just like a weird it was a weird feeling for me watching the movie, but yeah, no, I also think that like it was somewhat problematic in the way that they portrayed George Bush, because they just really went for it to make him look as fucking dumb as possible.
They made Donald Rumsfeld look as evil as possible, and they made Bush as dumb as possible. But
I don't have a problem with like making like Rumsfeld and Cheney and stuff evil if the evidence suggests that like that's what they were. But I just found it like George Bush, who like I don't think George Bush is necessarily like an evil dumbass. But
no, with all due respect to him, I don't think he's particularly smart.
He's certainly not as dumb as he was.
He and Michelle Obama,
movie.
like their relationship, I believe that Michelle Obama thinks that George W. Bush is like just a sweet dumb man. And
right, and I don't necessarily argue with that, but
I mean that administration did a lot of bad.
He is not as dumb as he was portrayed in that movie.
Yeah, of course, but that's what this movie did. They made these people who made very serious impacts on world history into cartoons, and one of the things about George W. Bush was that he wasn't the brightest or most polished or most presentable person, so they just tightened that.
And it did work in the context of the movie, because the movie is about how Cheney was able to manipulate everybody and rise to power, and the fact that you make Bush so dumb.
Yeah, Bush. They made it so Bush was basically begging to be manipulated because he didn't want to do anything himself.
I'm also taking points out of the problematic category because Adam McKay left out the dance number. And the dance number, the way he talked about it after the fact was like it was this big grand thing that was his favorite part of the movie. And
I don't know if I believe him though. I think that you say that when you it's like when a fight gets broken up, they pull you away. You're like, oh man, I was just about to do this move that was going to destroy you. You're so lucky.
But that's a tough card to play when we're going to see it. Like when that movie gets released on DVD and stuff, it's going to be in the extras.
How's your DVD player working these days?
I have a PS4, so pretty good.
Oh, what I was doing there was suggesting that no one's ever going to watch the movie on DVD. I don't own Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again on DVD.
But you have features.
Yeah, well, I've got features, of course.
Yeah, so I believe that the digital copies come with features.
Maybe.
I think you got boxed into a corner there.
No, I don't think so, because I think that young people are the people that would like this movie, and they don't have DVD players. I think that old people do have DVD players, and they're all probably really mad that this movie exists, so they're not buying it.
All right.
I think that this is there's no dance scene. There was it's a good move on Adam McKay's part.
That's a good conspiracy theory, though. There's no dancing
perfect for
exists.
This. So I did give it a 1.8 there. So totaling all these up, I gave it a 7.9. Which seems about right. I would have said like mid sevens. So yeah,
I ended up a little lower than I would have expected, but I don't have a big problem with it. It's 6.2 out of 10.
All right, that is Vice. It's not going to win.